Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ant Analysis. Week 1 is just wrapping up, so I'd like to go over a couple of games. Not all of them, just some of the kind of the important ones or the really exciting ones. I'd like to start with the Thursday night opener of the Eagles-Cowboys. It was a pretty exciting first half. All drives ended in a score in the first half. Both teams seemed to move the ball pretty efficiently. Not a whole lot really to bang on there. There's a couple of drops, but for the most part, both teams looked pretty good, pretty close to mid-season form. Everything looked pretty tight. Um, Eagles definitely showed that they won the Super Bowl for a reason. They moved the ball efficiently, kind of in all facets, running and passing. Dallas had a few problems with drops, especially kind of late, especially in the second half. And their defense didn't really show up very well. Their pass rush was pretty lackluster due to the Parsons trade. And the storm delay at the end of the third quarter pretty much halted the game. There wasn't a whole lot that happened after that, and the final score remained the same, 24-20 in favor of the Eagles. Prescott ended the game with 188 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Javonte Williams ended with 54 yards and two touchdowns on the ground, and CeeDee Lamb had 7 catches and 110 yards. Jalen Hurts ended the game with 152 pass yards, 62 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Saquon Barkley had 60 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Jahan Dotson had 3 catches for 59 yards, and Dallas Goedert had 7 catches for 44 yards. A game that I looked forward to, especially since the Parsons trade, was the Packers-Lions. Big notable things to come out of that game. Parsons' debut was limited. He only played, I think, about half the snaps on defense, but his presence was definitely effective and felt by the Lions. He did have a sack in the game. Otherwise, he had multiple pressures, and otherwise he was getting double teamed, and then somebody else was able to get back in the backfield and really force Goff to get rid of the ball. Love in the offense seemed to be clicking pretty early. Love completed his first 8 passes to 8 different receivers, ended up getting 10 receivers involved in total throughout the whole game. No one really shined offensively, but the offense moved the ball effectively. Love had 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jacobs had 66 yards rushing and a touchdown. Romeo Doubs was the leading receiver with 2 catches and 68 yards. Jaden Reed had 3 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. The Green Bay defense was really kind of what shined on Sunday afternoon. They were flying around, getting to the ball, really shut down Detroit. I think more than anyone was expecting them to. So it was really nice to see. The Lions looked out of sorts. They really just didn't get a whole lot going until late, and by that time it was kind of too late. The Packers pressured a lot without really having to blitz extra guys, and just seemed like the Lions were just rushing a whole lot and really just getting flustered with it. They really couldn't get anything going offensively. The Detroit defense kind of seemed back to form. They just didn't really get a whole lot of pressure on Love, especially early. Love seemed to be pretty comfortable in the pocket. He did have a pick that was ended up being called back on a penalty. Otherwise, the Lions defense kind of, I think, underwhelmed. So we'll see once they get into mid-season to see if that defense picks back up. I know the Lions are working with 2 brand new coordinators, so we'll see if that really affects how they play this year and see if they can get back to that playoff competitive team. For the Lions, Goff had 225 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The rush game was pretty lackluster. David Montgomery rushed for 25 yards. Sam Laporta had 6 catches for 79 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 4 catches for 45 yards. And Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 catches, but I think only for 19 yards. So far, the really exciting game of the weekend was the Ravens-Bills, kind of ended in a shootout. It was just exciting start to finish. Big plays all over the place. Defense wasn't really on show until late, especially for Buffalo. Josh Allen definitely showed out and showed why he deserved to win MVP last year, despite everyone saying that Lamar should have won it. He threw for 394 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns. James Cook had 44 yards, one touchdown, 58 receiving yards, and 5 for 5 catches. Keon Coleman had 8 catches, 112 yards, and one pretty good touchdown off a tip. Um, Jackson looked really good himself, though the Ravens weren't bad themselves at all. They actually were winning most of the game. Derrick Henry was still defying running back tropes by being as big as he is and as fast as he is, which is just insane. What a beast of a running back. The Ravens defense played pretty poorly, especially down the stretch when they needed to get some stops. Allen was really doing whatever he needed to do, whatever he wanted to do to will the Bills to get that game. Um, I think everyone's really going to talk about the Henry fumble. I don't really think that really defined his game. It was just kind of one mistake, an inopportune one. Really kind of put the nail in the coffin for him in that one, which sucks because despite that, Henry had an immaculate game. He rushed for 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, and unfortunately had the fumble. Jackson passed for 209 yards, threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for another 70 yards and a score himself. And Zay Flowers had 7 catches for 143 yards and a touchdown. The Bears played the Vikings on Monday night, and it was kind of an interesting game. The Bears really started out hot, methodically drove down the field in the opening drive, and really kind of put together a drive that I think everyone was hoping, was expecting the Bears to have under Ben Johnson's control this year. I know that Williams didn't hit some deep shots that were definitely open, but he didn't take any sacks early on. He methodically was checking the ball down, getting the ball out of his hands quickly. Those are the only games I really wanted to cover, just for stat wise. Um, like I said, there's some pretty good games throughout the weekend, but those were the three I think that most people were watching. The Thursday night opener. Um, I know I really wanted to watch the Lions Packers, and then the Sunday night football, Ravens Bills. Some other notable games: the Chargers stunned the Chiefs Friday in Brazil. Um, I think the Chargers played really well. That's kind of what I was expecting them to look like for the last couple of years now. It's nice to see them really getting in on it. Lad McConkey was pretty quiet, but Quentin Johnston had a really good game to make up for it. I know the Chiefs are really honing in on McConkey, so it's nice to see that Herbert can find someone else to get open and really kind of keep the offense moving. The Bengals got an opening week win, I think, for the first time in 4 years. They are now 2-11 in the first 2 weeks of the year over the last 7 seasons. Their offensive line, I think, was terrible, to be honest. Their defense didn't play that great either. Luckily, they were playing the Browns. They didn't have to play too stellar. They did have a really nice interception, tip interception that really helped them out. The Colts absolutely demolished the Dolphins. Daniel Jones looked really good on Sunday. So we'll look forward to see how he does the rest of the year. I know Colts fans might be excited to see that. Hopefully it's not just a one and done and you can kind of do what Geno Smith did last year or Sam Darnold did last year, really have a successful season with a new team. The Jags opened up with a good win over the Panthers. It was really a good defensive game for most of it. Kind of back and forth, but the Jags ended up coming away with that one. Steelers had a shootout win over the Jets after they swapped quarterbacks. Fields, who's now with the Jets, and Rodgers, who's now with the Steelers. That game was really good. Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns, and then Jalen Ramsey really sealed that game off with the hit that knocked the ball out of Garrett Wilson's hand at the end of the game. The Broncos defense was really the star of their game. They went over the Titans. I know they were playing a rookie quarterback and a Titans team that didn't really have high expectations coming into the year, but the Broncos defense really just suffocated them. They had 2 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries, 6 total sacks, and 183 offensive yards allowed. The Broncos defense is really going to be their star this year until Bo Nix can kind of get it figured out. He had a pretty slow game himself, so their defense really stepped up for the Broncos. And that's all I got for today, and that's the Ant Analysis. But don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Minnesota was started out really slow. I know that Kevin O'Connell kind of held the reins a little bit, keeping McCarthy kind of in check. Didn't really give him a whole lot. Get him up to tempo on how fast NFL game speed really is. So they ran quite a bit, especially in the first half. And honestly, first half, neither team could run the ball. It was pretty short yardage situations, even if they were to get anything out of it. Then the second half came out, and they looked like they really let McCarthy have the reins and really kind of cut him loose a little bit. Outside of his pick six, he really took care of the ball, threw it well, threw it on time, and really hit receivers in stride. He ended the game with 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran for 25 and ran in a touchdown. Jordan Mason ran for 68 yards. Aaron Jones had 23 rushing yards, 44 receiving yards on 3 catches and a touchdown. And Justin Jefferson had 44 yards, 4 catches, and a touchdown. On the other side, Williams threw for 210 yards and a touchdown. He ran for 58 and ran one in. DeAndre Swift had 53 rushing yards. DJ Moore had 68 yards on 5 catches, and Rome Odunze had 37 yards on 9 catches with 1 touchdown.